was starting to feel comfortable with you as a teacher because you seemed to be transparent and real. You weren't promising like all these hundreds of thousands of dollars within so many months. And so I was like believable. And I was trying to find something that I wouldn't scare Julie away. I didn't want her to be totally scared off with this idea that, oh, we're going to make millions, but we're going to invest hundreds of thousands. I needed it to be right. I needed it to be something that she could start small, get her feet wet, trust it, and do something.
Hi, and welcome to Your Selling Podcast. I'm your host, Nikki Kirk, aka Your Selling Guide. In 2017, I quit a steady corporate desk job to travel the US in an RV. Along the way, I started selling on Amazon, grew multiple successful businesses, and wound up back to my roots as a small town girl. Today, I'm still doing what I love, selling on Amazon and helping other sellers start and grow their own online businesses. Each week on Your Selling Podcast, we will cover different aspects of selling online and highlight other sellers just like you and I. From part-time sellers creating extra income on the side to full-time sellers growing million-dollar businesses. Think of this as a sit-down with your Amazon bestie where we can learn and grow our online businesses together. Welcome to Your Selling Podcast. Hey crew, and welcome back. On today's episode, I have Amazon sellers Jonathan and Julie. Now, I'm really excited to share their story with you because I have been along for it the entire time they've been selling. They've been selling for a year on Amazon now, and the day they signed up with my beginner FBA training course, and then I've been following along with them in the community through the Bolo group and the Q4 group and beyond. They've been growing their business, and they have a lot of questions that I'm sure that you also have, so I know you're going to like this episode. Welcome, Jonathan and Julie, to the podcast.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm really excited for you guys because I feel like I've been a part of your journey the whole entire time, and you've just come up on a year. You've passed a year of selling. So how did you get started selling on Amazon? And also before that, like what were you doing or what do you do for work and all that kind of stuff?
So I'm a speech pathologist and I work with the geriatric population, and it's my full-time job.
I'm a CNC operator, so I run a machine that cuts out parts for a cabinet. Our cabinet team does all the renovations for all the university, the dorms, the hospitals, the doctor's offices, all the special stuff, fraternities, sorority dorms. So I run the machine that cuts out all those parts.
So you're both working full time. So how did you hear about Amazon and decide that that was something you were going to do?
Well, I wanted to make more money somehow. And I was tossing out ideas. And the one that she liked the most was Amazon FBA. Because she thought, oh, we don't have to have the product here. She already loves to shop, though she doesn't like to shop for herself, but she loves to shop. So I thought, okay, and maybe we could do this together. You know, the videos make it sound like there's a lot of profit out there to be found through, right, retail arbitrage. So we were like, yeah, let's give it a shot. So I talked her into it and made her take the plunge. And then now she just likes to blame me all the time for it.
So what really happened was he kept coming home and saying, Nikki this and Nikki that. I was like, who is this Nikki chick you're talking about? He's like, well, listen to this. And she does it this way. And she does it that way. And I've been listening to all of her videos. And I was like, okay, so what is this you're talking about? Who is Nikki? What's going on here? So I started listening to the videos too. And I was like, okay, well, maybe you're onto a little something here. So yeah, we got started December of 2022.
23.
No, 23. Sorry, this is 24. We got started in December 2023, the week of Christmas, because we were off that week. We had taken a staycation time. So we dug into it and watched videos and started learning how to do it.
Yeah, you were in, did you do the beginner course or was it the Bolo
Yeah.
group?
Nope, we did the beginner course. And yeah, that's where we started. I'd forgotten about that. Went through all of that step by step, every video, and we went through all of it. And then we went back, started over again, and went step by step, like how to set everything up. And yeah, it was really helpful getting everything set up and getting going. And then the real learning process started on how to actually implement what you were talking about. Very stressful, lots to learn, huge learning curve. Yeah, but I mean, here we are a year later.
Yeah, because I remember, I'm not sure exactly what the post was, but you had posted something in the group, and I was like, well, when did you start? And then you were like, last week. And I was like, oh, wow. So I like really remember that part.
Was.
Yeah.
So I watched the videos probably in November and December and was starting to feel comfortable with you as a teacher because you seemed to be transparent and real. You weren't promising like all these hundreds of thousands of dollars within so many months. And so I was like believable. And I was trying to find something that I wouldn't scare Julie away. I didn't want her to be totally scared off with this idea that, oh, we're going to make millions, but we're going to invest hundreds of thousands. I needed it to be right. I needed it to be something that she could start small, get her feet wet, trust it, and do something. Because we've been talking about ways to make money. I had said, well, let me get a job on the weekends to make more for retirement, for investment growth. And we could never really come up with the way that she felt comfortable and I felt comfortable doing it together. And this was the one that she was most okay. I can see myself trying it. So I got her to I just had to push just the right way and got her to try it. And once she got into it, she was scared of everything at first.
Well, I like a lot of control. I don't like to take risk. If it's a big risk, I'm not going to take it. If it
No.
includes a lot of money that could be lost, I'm not going to take that risk because anxiety. And I don't want to lose our nest egg. You know, we're in our mid 40s and we can't afford to lose a lot of money. So this felt like something I could control better, although only to a point, right?
Yeah.
So, and it was little increments at a time. You know, we invested in getting the beginner course, and that was very affordable. So we did that, and then we had to spend money on getting our business license and figuring out how to do the Seller Central, and you know, so it did cost money, and then we had to put the money up front also to buy our product to send in, and so but we had control over how much we spent, and knew that it would take a while to build up and get back what we put into it. But yeah, so it was a control issue for me
Now, you guys have kids, right? Is there 2 or 3?
too.
So are they at school? Are they school aged?
Yes, they're 11 and 13.
So you've got full-time jobs, you've got the kids are going to school, and then you were looking to add part-time on the weekend. So it sounds like you kind of already knew you could fit Amazon in. How does it end up working out? Like, how much do you go sourcing? Do you go sourcing every week?
What's like a baby. They don't, you think you can plan it and figure it out, but it doesn't work that way. They just fit in. You just choose to have the baby, you go for it. And when the baby gets there, the finances work out, the space works out, the food, the schedule, you just kind of have to just do it. And then you make it fit in. So you flex constantly with this thing in motion. Whereas if you try to get it all right first, it's not going to happen. You're not going to take the step forward to do it, you know. So, but yeah, with the kids, I mean, I knew that I needed to do part time in order to grow some fun money somewhere, and I didn't want Julie to feel like she had to take away time from the family. So I was going to put myself out there with more hours on the clock and let her stay with the kids more. But then when we could do it together, it was like, okay, maybe this is a better option. Do it together, both be home with the kids, both be out shopping with the kids, or so that's kind of how we really just we knew the kids would have to suffer somehow from it.
And at first we did take them with us.
Yeah.
We didn't want to leave them at home alone. You know, I wanted to be with them on Saturday and Sunday and in the evening or summertime especially, and we would take them with us. They would take their iPads and they would sit in the buggy in the store, and we'd push them through the store and pile stuff on top of them while they were watching their iPads. And eventually they
Yeah.
were like, we're going shopping again,
Yeah.
Mom, please. So at first, when we first started, we were learning it, and we had to spend more time learning, learning learning how to do it, learning how to source, scanning items in the stores, coming out empty handed because we were gated and everything, learning how to get ungated and stuff. So it took a lot of time. And I kind of resented how much time it took because it did take so much time and we weren't really getting anything out of it. And so that was part of the learning process. Now it's easier because I have spent hours and hours. Like I would sit on the couch with the kids, they're doing their homework or we're just cuddling together or whatever. And I'm on the laptop researching, getting ungated, going through, putting in ASINs to get ungated and stuff, automatically ungated. Just learning the process. And now it doesn't take as much time. I kind of know better what I'm doing. I still feel like I don't know what I'm doing, even though it's been a year and I've been doing it, pretty religiously. But now I'll go after work. I'll go to one store and I'll spend an hour and then come home. Especially if I get off early, like if I have a low caseload, I don't have a lot of patients, I'll take that early day and I'll go to the closest store. Or I went to Marshall's this day, so I'll go to TJ Maxx the other day and I'll just spend some time in there and if what I find, check out and be done with it for that day. And then we pack up. We were packing up stuff. It started here in our playroom. And
Yeah.
then the kids were like, we want our playroom back because the pile grows. So at first, when you're gated and everything, you have just a little bit and you
Yeah.
can fit it all back here behind you and you reach back and you enter something and then set it aside in a box. Well, then you get ungated and more stuff. And so you've invested a certain amount of money. That makes money. So you reinvest what that profit is. So now you can buy more stuff. And it kind of morphed out into the dining room and it took over the dining room. And then I got tired of it being in the dining room because our whole house was a disaster with all the product. So we went to the storage unit and got work tables from the storage unit, put in our garage and cleaned up the garage and shoved everything to the side. Took more stuff to the storage unit, and now we're in the garage. And so now the dining room table only has bags and receipts all over it instead of product. All the product is in the garage now, and that's where we did Q4. And now the playroom is my kids' stuff.
Yeah.
But it kind of morphs into bigger and bigger and bigger and takes over, and you don't spend as much time doing it because you know more and you don't have to do as much research and you feel more productive.
I would say that with the kids, if you have really young kids, I don't know if you could do two full-time jobs and handle two little bitty kids. Like if we had a 1 year old and a 3 year old,
No.
we couldn't do it. We would have to dedicate all those hours to the babies. But now that they are, they were 10 and 12 when we started,
Yeah.
they were enough able to keep themselves occupied and entertained, help us so it was about the right age for us to dump this, because your kids, they have to deal with it too, right? They lose space, they lose mommy and daddy some, they get tasked like pull stickers
Yeah, they
and
decided they don't like pulling stickers.
wipe off the glue.
Yeah.
They get stuck with it. So for us, I think this is a good age for them to be able to handle the load.
So I spend about 30 hours a week on it. Typically, I haven't since Q4. I sourced in the middle of December. That's the last time I really went sourcing. Actually, no, it was the week before Christmas. We took a trip to see family and sourced on our way there and back. But that's the last time I've been sourcing. The stores are empty. They're shopped out. They're not replenishing. They're doing their end of the year inventory. So I haven't bothered going and really doing a sourcing trip. I'll do that next week, I think. But the kids, yeah, they you would enlist them to help, and they like it or they don't. And you hear them say, "I'm so sick of Amazon."
Yeah.
So do they help? Are you paying them to help, or they're just kind of helping?
We're not even paying ourselves. So no.
Well, that's not entirely true. We did pay one of our daughters to help us list some items because we thought the chance of them selling was
That's right.
poor. Ended up that was one of our best sellers. So here we are dishing out all our profit to our oldest daughter per
Nice.
sale. Yes, it was a novelty item we didn't think would
Yeah.
take, and it took. And then here we are selling one or two a day, and I'm having to pay out $15 to $20 per sale to my child. So I'm like, wait, this is not how this is supposed to work. you know. So
Oh,
we
so
told her,
she might like it now.
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, she was liking it then.
And the younger one was like, hey, I want to help list some stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
Nice.
oh gosh.
Do you remember how much you started with? Like how much you were willing to invest into it?
Yeah, initially it was $5,000.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so we just
It ended up being more.
we had to put a little more into it.
Yeah.
But yeah, initially it was 5,000 and we went to the bank, got a credit card just for Amazon, which is, what you're supposed to do, right? So highly recommended to keep it separate, and we've kept everything separate. We don't buy anything with our personal credit cards. So yeah, it was initially 5,000, and last January we sold about $4,000 worth of sales. So that was, I think, pretty good for our first
Yeah.
month. So we made some profit on what we bought. We made a bunch of bad buys over the months. And so,
Oh,
so 5,000 was our initial, and we've just taken the profit that we've made and rolled it back over and bought more stuff and used it to source so that we could scale. And by scaling, I mean, we haven't paid ourselves yet. We've just gone from $5,000 to $18,000 on the credit card for the month of December. We don't carry a balance on the credit card.
Mhm.
We pay it off every month, which is why we haven't paid ourselves. But you can see that's what we've scaled to, from 4,000 to 12 months later, 18,000. And we do have a little surplus now, but I don't know, like 4,200 surplus for a year. That's $2 an hour for me, just me. And it's $1 an hour each for both of us if you count both of our hours, which is horrible.
I know
So
we were talking earlier and I was like,
yeah.
well, at least you weren't working for free, right? At the
Yeah.
end of the day.
Yeah, well, we have been working for free.
Yeah.
I guess it just takes time to build it. I'm very
Yeah.
impatient.
Was it
Julie was.
hard? Was it hard for you to spend? Because 5,000 is a good chunk. I think I started with 1,000 myself, and so that was a good chunk of money you had for inventory. Was it hard to spend, or did you make bad buys, or what happened?
That's not all inventory, was it? Some of that was supplies.
Yeah, so it was startup costs, like buying the supplies that we needed, like the Rolo. We bought a laptop. We bought
Beginner guide,
stickers,
Oh,
the
okay.
beginner guide, boxes,
the
bags.
gating guide.
Yeah,
So that not all that was inventory.
right. Yeah,
Yeah.
Okay, that
It
makes
was
sense.
yeah, it
yeah.
was probably more like 2,500 in inventory and 2,500 in all the startup costs and stuff like that.
Had a lot of fun shopping that first time. I was like, ooh, I could spend all this money and it's going to make me money back. And for the most part, it did. But
Yeah.
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 Nice. So, what is one of the dreams that you have for yourself with your Amazon business? Like, is there one goal you're working towards, or is it just like pay a bill or something?
Okay, bigger dreams than I do. I'm not a dreamer. I'm like realistic. I just want to pay myself. But his dream is
Well, I was hoping we'd have a beach house, a beach condo. We love the beach. It's her favorite place. And so
Nice.
it's become my favorite place. So my favorite place is on the water fishing, particularly like saltwater and freshwater fishing, so inshore fishing, right? That's my favorite thing. And her favorite thing is being on the beach and doing cruises. And so I was trying to figure out how we could have like maybe a retirement beach house that we maybe one day we live in it mostly, and then we keep our other home too. So I was kind of thinking for all of us that that would be like the highest that we might be able to obtain with Amazon's earnings. You're talking, from $500,000, a really small condo, to up many, many millions, right? So I was hoping we'd be able to accomplish that. But like Julie said, she is more of, look, wait, I'm still on the ground breathing regular air. I'm
I just
not
want to
breathing
get
oxygen.
paid. Look, I just want to pull in a regular paycheck at this point. He's talking about beach houses, and I'm just like, look, just pay me something.
Yeah, she'd
Do
rather
you
take on and take buy a cruise, and I'd rather like own the cruise line. It's the difference, right?
nice. Um, so do you have like a goal or a plan? I know you keep a lot of like really good notes and how you're able to track everything. Of where like if we keep on this trajectory, you can pay yourself X amount a month, or you
We haven't figured
We're
it out.
winging it. Yeah, totally winging it. So I talked to my sister. She has an accounting background, and she told us, look, you need about 2 months worth of expenses saved up in your bank account. And I'm thinking, it's going to take us another year or two making a good profit to do that. And I'm not sure I want to wait that long. I just want to maybe live paycheck to paycheck at this point. Can we please just pay ourselves? We're in the hole that first $5,000 we haven't even paid back to ourselves. So I just want to pull a regular paycheck. That's my ultimate goal. I can't tell how much per month it's going to be because you don't know. You might have a good month, a bad month. It's very fluid. So I don't know. It's really hard to know how to do that.
Like we don't like how you get Julie asks for payment every day. I know some people
Yeah.
just wait until Amazon processes a 2-week payment, right? And when you get paid, let's say you get $200 today, it's hard to know what of that 200 was the cost of my goods because you haven't looked backwards. Like 60 days ago, what were those items that sold that allowed me to get this payout on this day? So since we haven't been able to really connect the dots like that and know what we should take out for ourselves and what we should put aside for the replenishment of cost of goods, we just keep dumping it back in as a default because we kind of, like you said, we're winging it and don't know. We don't know what would be a safe amount, the appropriate amount. And so we just haven't paid ourselves anything yet.
So to me, if we have enough money to pay off the credit card, then the excess is our profit because the cost versus what you make and the difference is the profit. So that's what I've been looking at, and that's why I said we have $4,200 overage. That's just what's in the bank. That's not including what Amazon still hasn't paid us for the reserves, or we still have like $3,500 Amazon has in our account to be paid to us from Q4. So we really have more. I don't really understand how to pay ourselves and not get in the hole at the same time. So
I think it's a question that a lot of people, Amazon sellers, struggle with. And I can only, so what I did was I would pay myself, like I got my payouts back in the day. They didn't have the daily payouts so available like they do now, or you could request money, but it wouldn't tell you how much you were going to get of the thing. So it was kind of a guessing game of what amount you would get. So I would just let it do every 2 weeks. The regular scheduled payout. And I would do the first one of the month, I'd pay my credit card off. And the second one, whatever it was, literally whatever it was, I would just transfer that into my personal bank account as my pay for that month. And that worked for me for a really long time. And then I started teaching and it got crazy. And so that was a whole different thing. But that's how I, with my Amazon business, paid myself. And I'm thinking, just hearing you talk, it should be almost like Jonathan's example of the baby, which is a great example, by the way. Like, just start saying, okay, we're going to pay ourselves $500 a month, and you pull it out. And then I'm pretty sure you won't miss it in your business. And then as that's sustainable, add to it. And I know we've talked about this in the groups, but like paying yourself for something. So I know you guys like cruises. So like paying for a cruise for yourself, or deciding we're going to pay our car payment with the Amazon business every month, and getting to the point where whatever that amount is, that's what you pull out, is just the baby steps, I would think, to like getting able to figuring out if you could pay yourself or not, or like if that's sustainable, if that makes sense. That's what I would do.
yeah, it makes sense. That's a really good advice to just make a very minimum goal, like $500, or my car payment's less than that, so pay my car payments. The only car payment we have, so pay it. Or maybe we can look for a new truck for him and say, okay, well, it's going to be this much a month, and that's going to be so yeah, that's a really good advice to follow. We'll have to talk about
Yeah,
that.
because it's kind of one of those things where I think I get it, because I mean, I couldn't even tell you what to do. And so it's like it's overthinking it to a point, but also you feel like, no, there should be a formula, right? That's how it feels like.
The control issue and the anxiety again. I don't want to carry a balance on the credit card and have to pay 29% interest on these
Yeah.
goods that we're trying to make money on.
Yeah.
So that's back to my control issues. No, keep the money in the bank. You got to keep it in the bank. We can't take anything out because we're going to have to pay them. Going crazy and my hair's on fire. That's how I feel. Poor thing, he puts up with me and my ridiculousness.
Yeah. I don't mind the risk as much as Julie does.
True.
And so we have to balance ourselves here, you know. She probably would have never done Amazon FBA if I just kind of hadn't said, hey, we got to do something to make some money. But then she's also will keep me from like going in debt, you know, and owing everybody everything. So
yeah, because when you're not making money, you're just spinning your wheels.
That's a good balance. You got to have somebody pushing you, somebody also kind of pulling back, and that's what we are. And then we fight about it sometimes, you know.
I told him this is not a job. It's not a second job. It's a hobby right now because we're not paying ourselves.
Yeah.
So maybe I'll transfer some money, $500 into our bank account today.
Yeah.
Maybe
and go out. Or from what I understand from talking to an accountant, but this is not accountant advice, that you can go out to dinner and it's business because you guys both work in the business.
Yeah. Well, you know, I have gone through, I did something stupid. I haven't counted the mileage all year. So I started, it's the tedious stuff I can't stand like this. So he and his good technology brain downloaded our credit card statements for the whole year into Excel. And so I went and made a list of all the stores like Ross number 854 or Walmart 1400. So where are all these stores? And so I'm going one by one by one. What is our mileage and how's it going to save us money on our taxes? And so we traveled 2 states over to do sourcing. So that's all an expense that we can count. And the meals that we did overnight, you know, stayed overnight one time. So I started going through and doing all that. But we got QuickBooks like last month or something. And so I set up on my phone to track mileage through QuickBooks. And yesterday I checked it. So January 1st, we're tracking our mileage.
That is so funny because that is the same way I did it for 2 years. I did use my credit cards to a point. I had Receipt Bank, but now it's called Dext, and I don't use it anymore. But it was the same thing. It gave me an Excel, and I had in my calendar. I knew what campgrounds we were at, so I knew like how far the mileage, and I did the same thing. And it's a horrible way to do it.
Yes, yes. Like if I go from work to TJ Maxx to Walmart to wherever, okay. So that's my mileage.
Yep. That's funny. So I know you've grown a lot and done some changes in your business. So you are doing FBA and FBM now, or are you just doing FBA?
So we really started doing FBM because, you know, we were in the Bolo group, the Q4 Bolo group, and people were saying, or you said especially, you need to switch to FBM. So we did. So we stopped sending in FBA shipments in November. I don't know, what was it, mid-November? I don't remember. Anyway, about the cut, maybe it was the first week in November because there was a time when it couldn't get there and then turn around, be processed, and get back to the customer. So I said, well, okay, all this stuff, we had already been doing some FBM. Every now and then we do some FBM, but I don't want the stuff in my house. I don't want to have to take the time to FBM it. I really don't want to lose money on shipping. Like one time we had an item that needed to be overnighted to a customer, and it cost $50. So we lost money on that item. I don't even remember what the item was, but I had my shipping template set up to where I thought it would cover the cost, and it did not. So after that, I set up my shipping templates. I was like, fine, you want it expedited? $50. Well, Amazon wouldn't allow it. Amazon came back and said,
nope,
you can't do that. Make it less. So I made it less, and it still didn't cover the shipping cost. But so we had done some FBM, but in Q4, everything we sourced, I tried to, since we'd done some FBM, I kind of knew how much it would cost to ship these items. I put it in as, okay, this thing costs X amount of money. This is how much shipping would cost. This is how much money we'll make. So we started FBMing everything. And without that, we would not have made money during Q4 because that's what at that last week before Christmas.
Yep.
people started wanting expedited. We made bank on expedited shipping because I set my templates high. Actually, I think I took yours and Becky's. Y'all posted your templates on the Bolo group, and I copied what y'all had and maybe added a few more dollars to it because I know you're in the middle of the country and we're not. So it takes more for us to ship to the other side of the country. So I added a few more dollars to our shipping templates, and people paid it, and they're still paying it. So,
which caused fights between us because.
I remember one of them. Yeah.
Yes. She smoked me on Facebook. Hey, we have a question for y'all. If a customer paid $35 for it and they want it by the 10th, and it gets there by the 10th for $8, or it gets there by the 10th for $32, which one would y'all do? And I was like, we paying $32 to UPS that thing overnight. She's paying like UPS $10 ground because it gets there the same time. And I'm like, the customer's going to see that and be like, you didn't give me my money of what I paid in shipping. So we fought about that.
It was really a fight. We stood in the garage and fought about it. And the kids were like, God.
And she got all of the Q4 Bolo group to chime in and give it. So we had all these ring judges. Here we are in the middle. You know? Oh gosh. And then I was put in my place. Every single one of y'all said, send it for 10, not 32. So, and I tracked it. It got there on time, but I so swear that customer looked at it and said, UPS ground, you can send me my overnight shipment. But
as long as it got there, we made money on it.
It's so funny because I am more I would have sent it the cheaper way, yes, but I do see the Jonathan part of it. I go like that, oh, are they gonna notice that it's like, but I still send as long as it gets there. And during Q4, it is kind of a gamble, but normally if they're real close to you, the UPS will get there.
Well, if it needed to get there on time, it didn't go through the post office.
No.
If we would pay more money to send it UPS, not through the post office, because the post office will have a time, like it's supposed to get there on the 1st. Well, it doesn't get there to the person on the 1st, but they mark it as delivered.
Yep.
But it gets there the next day. It happened to me. I was expecting a shipment, and the post office sent me a notification. It's been delivered. No, it hasn't. It's nowhere to be seen, but it got delivered the next day. So I know that's the game they play, I guess, to show that things get there on time, but it really doesn't. But it makes the customer mad. I would be mad.
Yeah.
So if it has to get there on time, it goes UPS.
It's taught me that I will never pay for expedited shipping on Amazon ever again because I know somebody on the other side is putting that money right into their pocket, and it was like useless. I mean, so.
I'm the same, and that's why most of my shipping templates are the one I use the most is the free, because I will not pay for shipping on Amazon unless I absolutely have to, and even then I go to Walmart.com to see because I can get it faster. Hey crew, is your Amazon business set up for success this year? Do you know how much profit you really made on the item you just sold? Or what about this? Do you notice when the Amazon FBA fees change on a product in your inventory? These are just some of the reasons why I love Sellerboard and why I've partnered with them on the You're Selling podcast. I have been using Sellerboard for 4 years now, and I absolutely do not know how I will run my business without it. I love how simple Sellerboard is to use. The desktop version is set up so easy. As soon as you connect your Amazon account, all of your products from the past, anything you've ever sold is gonna flow into that. And the way I love it and use it the most is actually when I'm outsourcing. I have Sellerboard app right on my phone, and I can visually see the images of the products I'm selling today, yesterday, last month, last year, whatever I want to look at, I can see it in real time right on my Sellerboard app. Sellerboard is an affordable must-have tool for all Amazon sellers, and as listeners of this podcast, they have given you 2 months free to try it out for yourself. There's absolutely no credit card required to sign up, and you can cancel at any time. Head to yoursellingguide.com/sellerboardprofit to set up your free trial today. Again, yoursellingguide.com/sellerboardprofit to get your 2-month free trial today. How many shipping templates did you end up setting up, and how many do you use?
I think I set up 8 or 10, and I think I've used all of them. So I have all the ones that you and Becky put in the group. I used those, and I did have it after I got burned on the expedited shipping that one time. I took that away. Like, I'm not doing anything expedited because I'm not going to lose money on it. I'm too scared. Again, I don't take risks. So I just did away with expedited shipping. But in Q4, I thought, what am I doing? I've got to have expedited shipping or I'm not going to sell anything. So I just used what the templates that y'all put on there. And then I added a few more. So because of where we are in the country, if we send to Florida, it costs less, but if we send to Washington, California, Oregon, it costs more. So I put some templates in between, like a $5.99, $8.99. It depends on what the item is. If it's heavier, we have one item that costs a little more to send, so it might be a $4.99, even though it just covers a little bit of shipping. And then we have some items that only we have. I've created the listings. And those items, since we're the only ones with them on the whole of Amazon, we charge shipping for them. And because we're the only ones you can get it from, you don't have a choice, but you have to pay the shipping. So it covers our shipping costs, and we maybe make a little more on the profit because we're not spending the profit paying for the shipping.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I have used all of them, especially during Q4.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. I think I like FBM for the items I'm not really sure about. Are they going to sell? Are they expiring too soon? I want to be able to return them to the store. So the things that are questionable, I'd rather FBM. The things that I know have a really good rank, they're going to sell. We've sold them in the past. I'll send them in. It's a mix. It's gone really well because it started out, I went into the store, I was sourcing some items, and I saw that this one brand, that one variation of an item in a brand had a listing and it sold really well. We sent it in, it sold. But this other variation over here, same brand, didn't have a listing. So I thought, well, I wanted to make bundles anyway. So I used your video to see if I could create listings. And I thought, okay, I have no idea what I'm trying to do with these bundles. I've tried bundles. I tried making a bundle with the Target grocery cart and the little plastic grocery cart that was selling for like $60. So I went to TJ Maxx and Target. This was beginning of last year. I didn't know what I was doing. And I bought little food items, but it was the non-brand. And I thought, I'm going to make a bundle with this. Tried to make the bundle with it, got an IP because it wouldn't work. The food brand wasn't even an item that sold on Amazon, whatever. So then I thought, forget it with the bundles. Let's just try one item at a time. So I sourced the one item, made a variation, and it sold. So I thought, okay, well, that one sold. I didn't get in trouble for it. Let me try some other variation of the same brand. So I just took that brand, all the other variations that weren't on Amazon, made them myself. I'm the only one with the listing, and they sold. They sold like hotcakes. Certain ones didn't. I got IPs for some, and just take those off, delete those listings. And then I thought, well, okay, I did it with that brand. Let me try it with a different brand. And I would take a picture in the store. I wouldn't buy the item, just take a picture of it, take a picture of the barcode all around the packaging, and try to make a listing, even without pictures, just to see if it would go through. And it did. And it stuck. It stuck for a week. They didn't want me to take it down. They didn't flag me for it. So I would go to the store and buy that item. And then it sold. And so I bought all the variations of that brand and listed all the variations of that brand. And they are bestsellers for us. So creating the listings for items that are not on Amazon, that's a goal for me this year. If I find it, if I scan it, and it comes up an empty box, it's going in my cart and I'm going to take it home and I'm going to try to create a listing for it and try to have the monopoly on it. I mean, nobody can take my price if I'm the only one. And if it's a generic listing, they can't list on it. So, yay. Do as much of that as I can because it's been really profitable.
Yeah. Creating listings has been the biggest door for us this year.
Yeah.
Our own listings.
Yep. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Some items like created some listings for name brand items, like big name brands. And one listing allowed us to put the name brand in the title, and two of them for the same product, different variations, gave us an IP for it. So there's no rhyme or reason why they give you an IP for it. So we just go in and change it up and relist it, and it sticks and it works. So, okay, we'll go with it. Or, okay, we'll return this one back to the store because it didn't work. So that's our FBM goal, is to be able to have our own listings that we can send from home and take back if they fail, because a lot fail.
Yeah, that's what I also do. Any listings I create, I don't send them in. Some of them I can't send in because they come up hazmat, even though they're not. But then
Right. Yeah.
some of them I just wait and let it sell a little bit, and then I'll send it in. And I've noticed the ones that I do end up sending in that I can to be FBA, they sell way better FBA. So now
Mhm.
I'm kind of moving towards that. But I'm all about the bundles. I'm also, I know I've already told you this, but I'm also moving into creating my own listings and doing more bundles. I love shopping just like you, Julie. I absolutely love shopping. So I'm not going to stop doing RA, but I do want to scale more, and having that where you're the only one
Yep.
that offers it, and you kind of control the listing is definitely a way to do it.
Now, I know you have your own brand. You've
Yeah, I
branded.
registered a brand.
Yeah. I'm kind of leery about doing that because I know that other people can list on your brand if you make a listing. Shouldn't you be able to give a counterfeit complaint on that?
Yes. So from what I've learned, because I just did it last year, excuse me, it has to, so once you register a trademark with the USGPO, you can do the brand registry on Amazon, and you can create your own listings with your brand that way. But you can't kick people off of it without it being fully registered, and that USPTO, whatever, it takes like 2 years to fully process and trademark.
Really?
So right now I do have people on my listing that are tanking it for no reason. I cannot wait for that thing. It should be fully
Mhm.
registered pretty soon, and I'm going to be giving out
Do
all the
it.
IP counterfeits. But
Yep.
right now the only way I could do it is by buying it, and I know there's a lot of other repercussions that could come from a seller reporting another seller as like buying for different reasons. So I'm hesitant. One of them, my bundle's expensive. I don't want to use my own money to buy my own bundle, right? But the other reason is I don't want to fall into that weird gray area and get in trouble with Amazon
Yeah.
because I'm buying. So I'm just waiting
Right.
impatiently for my thing
Yes.
to fully register.
Yeah, that's another reason why I don't want to spend the time and the money trying to make my own brand, because a generic listing, other people can't list on it. They get the error message.
Mhm.
So, I mean, maybe in the future I'll make my own brand, but right now I'll just stick with generic.
Yeah, that's one of the great things about generic. And I just happened to stumble into it because I created my last bundle 2 Q4s ago, and I didn't realize because I was fully like, oh, Becky, here, list on mine. And she couldn't. And I was like, oh, interesting.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, so I haven't created bundles yet, but I have created single listings, and I've counted it up. I've created about 60 that stuck, and then more than that that have failed. Um, Maybe 100 I've tried to create, and the rest of them have failed. But I am hoping and praying that the item that has been the most profitable for us, that we've sold the most of, I'm so hoping that that brand doesn't catch on and say, you've got to
Yeah.
stop. Yeah, I'm
Nice.
hoping.
That's awesome. Okay, so if you have to pick what is one of the best things about doing Amazon, being your own business owner, and what is one of the worst, and the worst can't be taxes.
So I don't like the tedious stuff. Like, I don't like looking at emails, returns, calculations of money. I don't like digging into that. I really like going to the store and saying, ooh, I could make money on this, buying it, and then making money on it. That's the fun part, right? So it's the nitty gritty stuff that I don't like to deal with. That's my worst.
Nice.
I have so many, it'll just clog up your whole show. Like, I love finding that treasure that makes profit. But so it's a love-hate relationship. The very thing that I find to be the favorite thing about selling is also the thing I hate about selling. And then that is I will go in the store and scan like 200 items, and it's taken me like 3 hours. And I've only got like $30 worth of profit in my buggy. And I know that I could have made more money at my other job with those
Yeah.
same 3 hours. And so I'm constantly battling that, like, is this the best way to use me in this FBA model? So, but I do like finding it. Like we recently found something at Walmart on clearance that I found it. I bought it. Julie listed it before I got home with it. Within like 12 hours, the first had sold. Within 24
Yes.
hours, the second had sold. And then there's no more to be found in the whole area. That item was we just got a gem. We found two little gems and bought them, and that was it. So I love when that happens, right? It's like finding treasure out in the world, I feel like Jacques Cousteau or something, right? but but it's that same thing. I feel like there's a lot of failure because you run across so many people are lowering the price.
Yep.
So like maybe instead of being able to find one profitable item out of every 40 scans, it's now like one profitable item out of every 100 scans. There's so much like competition and price tanking, and then I think the brands are catching on more, so they're getting more restrictive because they see they have brand power and they don't want somebody else making money on their brand power. So I feel like we're working against a lot of things are coming to a head, right? So you have to get creative, like Julie's talking about. The last kind of segment was make your own listing, make bundles, private brand labeling, branding, and then we seem to still be stuck more in the beginning of just go to the store, buy it, and try to list it. And I just don't see as I mean I remember finding more things last year than I think I found like through July and September. I felt like I found more things from January through May that were profitable than I did July through September. And I was like, why can I not find even as much as I used to find? Because back then I was a beginner. We
Yeah.
were gated in more things. Why is it so it's like it's been so picked through? So I kept telling her there must be more RA people in our area. But then we go up and use our tax exempt letter and no one's using tax exempt letter. The people
Yeah.
don't even know how to do it.
They don't even know what it is.
We have written down the directions and we tell them, hey, hit this key and then that key and then this button. And they're like, oh, thanks for helping us. We only see like one a month. And I'm like, my wife comes in here like 20 times a month. There's no way you only see one a month. And so I think, okay, maybe there's not that many RA people out there in our area. Maybe we're lucky and we're one of the few that buy this niching. Maybe there are RA people, but they don't buy what we buy. Right. They
Yeah.
buy other products because their community groups have bolos for those, right? So they're on the lookout for different stuff. But I just felt like it got so hard to find anything that I got super frustrated with it.
He gets frustrated really fast in the stores.
I can't, yeah. And Julie can last in the stores, but now I can last more in the details. If I had to sort out all the receipts by date and store and everything, and if I had to key entry everything, I can stay there for 8 hours. She's not going to stay there for 1 hour. She
It's
can,
frustrating to me.
yeah, she can stay in the store 8 hours, and after two, I am done. I am like, I want to have either a pole in my hand fishing.
He gets the glazed over look in his eyes, and his
just,
face starts to turn red from anger.
yeah, I just want to give up. Yeah, at that point, everybody in the store looks like a target I could throw something at. I just want to start chunking bags of coffee or something.
He'll look on the emails, and he does the technological stuff and telling me, oh, we've got a return coming. I don't want to hear it. I don't care. I don't want to hear it. You deal with it. I'm the one who goes to the store after work and brings home stuff. We got to the point where my little Jeep couldn't hold anymore, and I couldn't put the seats down because the girls are with me. So we found a little trailer for sale on Facebook Marketplace, and we went and bought a little 4x6 trailer, a little trailer to pull behind my Jeep, which is we bought a little trailer, and we have almost filled it up before with goods because when I travel couple states over. I'll shop here. I'll shop the next state, and I'll shop the next state. Make my way as far as I can, and then turn around and come home. And taking the trailer with me has helped because it's more secure than a soft top Jeep, and also I can put more stuff in it. So I bought totes and come out of the store and put stuff in the totes and stack the totes in the trailer and go to the next store. So it works out really well.
Yeah, it replaces an SUV. So if you have like a
Yeah.
Yukon or a Suburban, you're good. You've already got like lots of space, right? By the time you fill that up, you're probably tired for the day and want to
Yeah.
go home. But for our little Jeep, it wasn't enough. You know, she could fill it up after one TJ Maxx.
Yeah.
Well, TJ Maxx and Marshalls is full.
Yeah.
She couldn't put anything else in it. And she had 6 more stores to cover. So the little trailer was better than buying a Suburban for like $45,000, $50,000.
Yeah.
So, you know, it was, and we got a small one. That way it drafts well right behind her Jeep. It's less wide. It's less tall. It's really lightweight. You can just move it by hand.
Yeah.
So it doesn't cost a whole bunch of fuel to drive it across states because it just is so compact. It's pretty easy to maneuver on the road. So we feel like it was a perfect little find, you know, and we've been happy with it. It lets Julie have, now she can spend the whole day sourcing on a Saturday. Me and the kids stay here, play house, and she's out like trying to.
They text me, Mama, when are you coming home?
Yeah, we miss you. Come on, just stop.
Yeah.
Come on home. The girls mostly, they really start missing Julie. So then it gets to a point where if the next Saturday she goes sourcing, they'll hold her. No, you went sourcing last Saturday. You can't source this Saturday. So
Oh, that's funny.
the trailers helped us. So
Yeah.
anybody out there wanting to buy more product, yeah, get you a little trailer.
Nice. So you're fresh off of a year. What would be your advice to sellers who are in their first 6 months of like dealing with the frustration that comes along with that?
There's a lot of frustration. There's a lot of, every week I want to quit. Every single week I'm quitting. That's it. I'm not doing anymore. This is not worth it. And then we get like 10 FBM orders in a day, or we sell $500 in a day. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, maybe I won't quit yet. And I'm always screaming at him because I get frustrated and scream at him and Jonathan, and he deals with that. And so you just get to a point where you can't take it anymore and stop and take a break.
Yeah.
So
That's good advice.
yeah, when you get to where you've had enough and you're pulling your hair out, stop and take a break for a day or two, however long it takes to regroup, go do something else, get your stuff. We like to not have the stuff in the house. So get the stuff out of the house, put it in a corner where it's not all in your face all day long, and just take a breather. And then when you come back to it, you won't be as frustrated. You're like, okay, I can do this again. Let me get this sorted out and let me do it again. That works for me.
Yep. I totally agree that taking a break and like stepping away, separating the work from your home life, if at all possible, I know it's not possible for everyone, is really important. And to like, because it really does piss you off sometimes dealing with Amazon.
Because you're dealing with other people.
Yeah.
And when you deal with people, you get peopled out. So when you get peopled out, just stop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got to take a break. I think that's good advice. And the work-life balance, I don't know. I feel like every week I have to adjust it slightly. You know, some weeks I have to devote a lot of hours, and some weeks I don't even want to do 2 hours. I just want to take it easy, and then I feel guilty about it, right? But it's very addictive. The whole
Yeah.
Amazon FBA process, you buy it, you pack it, you send it off, you see sales happen. As soon as you start seeing all your work pay back, it feels like you get superhuman energy to go buy more product again, and it kind of thrusts you back in that whole cycle of buy, prep, send off, buy. So it's very addictive, and you got to be really careful, you know, that you don't overspend your credit line. And
Because what if? Well, this can make a lot of money.
Yeah. So I just start small. If you're getting into it, start small, and leave yourself room to scale without overcommit. You can overreach and get in debt. And
yeah, you've said before, don't get in debt for this. I think that's very sound advice. Don't get in debt. Spend what you can pay off. And if you can't pay it off, don't go shopping. There's been, at the beginning, there were weeks where I said, I can't because I've spent the $500 that I could pay off on the credit card, and I don't want to overspend. I could go out and buy everything I see, and I can't. So I had to make myself stop, take a shopping break, don't go out. But you think, okay, well, if I don't have it to sell it, then it's not making money. And there's this snowball effect that you think, I've got to have it to make money, to make more money, to go buy more stuff, and so it's a train wreck eventually if you don't stop, because then you can't pay it off and you get yourself in trouble. And we haven't done that. So we've tried to rein ourselves in and not get to that point, because that's not what it's about. We want to make money.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't see, like you said, I don't really see how a person could pay themselves after many, many months of being in it. Because I think if you pull money out in your first month, your second month, your third month, I think all you did was slow down your growth later. You can't scale quickly. So I would say if you can hold off, if you're doing Amazon FBA to get a paycheck, I say you need to go get another job.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because you cannot think of it as a paycheck. You can think of it as like sweat equity and investment growth, right? Capital gaining. But you just can't think of it as a paycheck. Now, I know you get there, and even us, we're still figuring that out. But for those of you, like Nikki, you said yourself, you pulled maybe a check, 6 months, somewhere 6, 7, 8 months, you paid yourself. See, I wouldn't even know how to counsel someone to do that. If I saw $1,000 looking at me in the face, that was my profit, I would feel like I've got to put it back in. I want it back in my bank account, because if next month I buy $9,000 worth of stuff, and I've only gotten back from Amazon 7,000, I need that 1,000 to cover.
Yeah.
I overbought that month. So for me, we've always played it safer to the vest with let's keep the profit and just keep rolling it in. So I say this not really as a way to know how to give advice, but just say be careful with overreaching. Don't think of it as a paycheck. Think of it as more like I guess just overall equity growth. You're growing your store, your inventory is growing. So that's becoming stronger. And then be in a community. You need to be in a community. If you are doing it, like if we just got your training with your beginner guide and we did the ungating guides, but then we didn't stay into the groups.
Well, I did it first.
The BOLO groups. Yeah, you did it without being in a BOLO group first.
And it was hard.
It was hard. We couldn't find as many profitable items.
Well, I had questions that needed to be answered that I had no idea, and I was trying to Google all the information, and you get these gurus on YouTube that really aren't gurus. They're just doing YouTube videos to make money, and it's not good advice. And so I finally got onto your BOLO group, I think. And, we couldn't afford a whole lot because we weren't making that much money. So I got into the BOLO group, and it did pay off, if nothing else, but in the knowledge that everybody had, because I asked all sorts of questions. I know people got so sick of seeing Jonathan's name come up because I was stuck. I didn't know what to do. And it really helped. And everybody's so kind, and they have really good advice to offer to get you through a hard time, a question that you have. So it's been well worth it.
Nice. I absolutely have been loving watching your journey. I'm like right there. Did you pay yourself yet? Did you pay yourself? Like, I'm waiting for you guys to pay yourself. But I'm looking forward to your next year of success. And I just want to thank you so much for coming on the podcast today, because I think you have really valuable insight into like the things people ask and no one really knows. Like we're not alone. We don't know. No, like I don't know. Do you pay yourself? I don't know.
I mean, we're not ones that say, oh yeah, it's great, it's easy, you're going to make a ton of money. We sell $50,000 a month. Are you serious? No, we're good to just like break even. We want to keep it real, because that's what other people are going through too. And I think it's pretty rare that people are successful right off the bat, because we haven't been. I mean, I feel like we've been successful in that we haven't carried a balance, and but some people claim to sell $100,000 in the first month. It's not going to happen. And we just want to be real about it and say, those of you pulling your hair out, we are too. It's a struggle. It really is. Struggle bus is going down the road with 2 wheels falling off.
Thank you so much for tuning in this week. If you want to be on the podcast, I would love to have you join me. You can email me at podcast@yoursellingguide.com. It comes right to my inbox. That's podcast@yoursellingguide.com. And I would love to chat with you and talk about your selling business, whether it's on Amazon, eBay, Etsy, Mercari, wherever you sell. I want to talk to you and hear about your journey. So please do contact me. And don't forget to give me a like, a thumbs up, a subscribe on YouTube, rate this podcast wherever you're listening to it. It really does mean a lot to me. So I thank you so much for that. Until next week, happy sourcing.